Honorable Biman Prasad for his response to the ministerial statement. We move on. Secretary General.
Consideration of bills.
Honorable members, pursuant to resolution of Parliament on Tuesday, 26 May 2020, the Legal Practitioners Amendment Bill 2020 will now be debated, voted upon, and be passed today. Debate will be limited to 1 hour, and I now call upon the Honorable Attorney General to move his motion. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the resolution of Parliament on Tuesday, 26 May 2020, I now move that the Legal Practitioners Amendment Bill 2020 be debated, voted upon, and be passed. Thank you, sir.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to second the motion.
Honorable members, I now call on the Attorney General to speak to his motion. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we moved this motion at the beginning of the week, we did talk a lot about the actual provisions in the Act itself, or the amendment that we are proposing. And essentially, Mr. Speaker, sir, it proposes that we replace the person or the Dean of the School of Law Faculty of the University of South Pacific to be replaced, together the Dean appointed by the Attorney General of the School or Faculty of Law of University in Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand to be replaced by essentially members to be appointed by the Attorney General, but keeping the Solicitor General, the Chief Justice, and the Chief Registrar of the High Court of Fiji still in place. That was one, and the reasons we had given, Mr. Speaker, sir, is to ensure that we can choose from a broader selection of people, given the fact from the university's perspective, we now have 2 other universities that actually have law courses available in their university. The second reason, of course, is that in respect of the overseas jurisdictions, that we should not be only limiting ourselves to Australia, New Zealand, and UK, but there are other common law jurisdictions too. For example, the prominent ones that come to mind are South Africa, India, Singapore, Canada, and other jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, sir. The second amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, is that those people who are appointed should actually come to the meetings themselves, or at least, whether now with the digital age, appear in the meetings themselves, whether it's through Zoom or any other type of facility. What we have found in the past is that we've had their delegates appearing for them when they sometimes don't necessarily have the right level of competency. So these are the amendments that are sought, Mr. Speaker, sir. And of course, we'd like to carry this out at the soonest, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other jurisdictions, of course, Mr. Speaker, sir, has, for example, in the United Kingdom, the Legal Services Board consists of following members: the chairman appointed by the Lord Chancellor, CEO of the board, and at least 7 but more than 10 other persons appointed by the appointing authority, which in this case is the Lord Chancellor. So, it's open, they're not specific, and again, you need to appoint the right competent people to that. Mr. Speaker, sir, similarly, we have in other jurisdictions, like in Singapore, for example, because they have the 3 universities that actually carry out the law services or provide law courses. You have the National University of Singapore, Singapore Management University, and the Singapore University of Social Sciences. And then again, the appointment is done by other members of the public. So these are the very simple amendments that are sought, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we believe, of course, it will give us a better choice of people to choose from, and as highlighted by the Honourable Minister Reddy, also it could get rid of also perceived or real conflicts of interest that may exist when you actually have only one person representing only one university when the other universities are mixed up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank the Honourable Attorney General. The floor is now open for debate on this motion. Honourable Biman Prasad, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.